schedule your appointment today. 866-314-4443. And from all of us here at Mike Scott Plumbing, thank you for your service.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala.
All right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. I haven't met our next guest yet on the phone, but I think she's an angel just based on what I know about her. An angel on earth. Linda Mornell is on the phone. She has written a book that will change the way... Well, not change the way. I'm looking at the title. The word change popped into my head. It will help you understand why I say she's an angel. Her book is called Forever Changed, How Summer Programs and Insight Mentoring Challenge Adolescents and Transform Lives. She's got a story to tell. I'll let her tell it. She is, in addition to being a registered nurse, she's the founder of Summer Search. She'll tell you what that is. I'll tell you it's a nonprofit organization that provides disadvantaged young people with life-changing and challenging summer opportunities. This is such a great story. Blessed by His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama, for her efforts to empower disadvantaged youth. It says in my notes here. And she's from Muncie, Indiana. You know, I knew a guy from Muncie, Indiana.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a guy.
Oh.
I wonder if she knows him. It's a small town, I understand.
Okay.
It's like a one-stoplight town, right?
I guess so.
I think. we'll find out. Linda Mornell. Good morning, Linda. How are you?
Good morning.
Where are you calling from?
I'm actually calling from Los Angeles right now. I'm visiting my daughter.
Really? And did you grow up in Muncie?
I did.
So the guy I met who was from Muncie, Indiana, you know where I met him? I met him in Los Angeles, in Santa Monica.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was with him when he saw the ocean for the first time, and he couldn't believe how big it was. I said, well, how big did you think it was?
Yeah, but he was inland.
I remember seeing the ocean for the first time, too. I left after I got my nurse's training finished. I got on a Greyhound bus and came west and saw the ocean for the first time in Los Angeles and San Francisco.
And did it blow you away? I mean,
Yes, it did.
See, and that's what happened to him, too. And it never occurred to me that when you don't grow up near the ocean, because I did. I grew up near the ocean.
Yeah.
You don't realize that people who grew up like Robin grew up in Wisconsin, but she was near one of the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like an ocean.
Sort of, but not, the ocean takes your breath away.
You can't.
Really does.
Well, anyway, Linda, you have done something really amazing with your life, and I love what you've done. Real quickly, before you tell you what you do, there's a couple of programs here in Florida that take juvenile delinquents who have broken the law and been sentenced for their crime to like a camping experience. And for the onlooker who doesn't think that this is a good idea, it's a great idea because these kids come out of it. Then they don't send the hardened kids. They send the kids that, maybe got in a fight. They had some kind of a law violation. And they come out changed people because of this experience, this kind of a summer camp experience. But this is not what you do, but I just wanted to share that with you. So tell us what you do.
Well, the biggest, I learned this about 25 years ago. We're having our 25th anniversary. The biggest problem with poverty is isolation. And my idea, and what Summer Search does, it breaks isolation in two ways. One is summer trips, summer programs, and the other is insight mentoring.
And what happens in the mentoring? Is it social education or is it actual academic education?
It's interesting. It's basically pretty simple. We listen to kids. Everybody wants to put something into adolescence, to teach or control or guide or impact. And we want to take our mentoring, we want to take something out of them. We want to listen to them. And they have a lot to say. And once they start talking about their feelings, and then they start reflecting on their feelings and behaviors. And that's when change happens.
I love that. I mean, isn't that really what the kids are doing, like with their songs and with their hairstyles and with, what I mean? Are they actually trying to say something?
Of course.
Yeah. So
And we as adults don't do that good a job of listening today.
Wow, you're so smart. Okay, so tell us the story that gave you the idea to do this.
Well, it actually began with my 3 children during their adolescence. Our middle daughter especially had a tough time. So we decided that they should all do, you called it a camp, a wilderness expedition. There are all kinds of programs. Camps are for middle school kids. There are all kinds of summer experiential education programs for adolescents. And we decided that all 3 of them should do an outward bound experience. 3 weeks in the wilderness. I call it going for hard. The other 2 were athletic and more extroverted. She was the middle child and introverted, and had no interest at all in doing something like that. But we decided that it was in her best interest, so we told her she had a choice. She could go voluntarily or involuntarily. She decided to go involuntarily.
Involuntarily?
Yes.
How did you?
She got the most out of it.
Okay, well, how do you do that? I mean, how do you get somebody to go involuntarily?
We said this is something we believe is in your best interest, and as parents, we ask you to do it and expect you to do it.
So where did you go? Where did the kids? Where physically I'm assuming it's in this country. Where do they go?
Yeah, well, Outward Bound is known for their wilderness expeditions. They're probably the most well-known. There are lots of programs, but they're the most well-known. And there are 5 Outward Bound schools around the country. She went to the one in Oregon.
Okay.
And was out the whole time for 3 weeks.
And what are they doing during those 3 weeks?
Hiking, camping, bonding as a group, rappelling down mountains, wonderful things.
Did you do those things when you were younger?
No.
Well, one of the great things about learning to work as a group, if a person or people have attitudes when they go into something like that, they really must see that they can't just be solo in this world, that they do have to get along with others in the best way possible. Exactly.
And that's true for the Summer Search kids, because these trips they do have scholarships, but they're expensive. And so they're mainly affluent kids on these types of experiences. And Summer Search kids are often the only scholarship student and the only minority. But after 3 days, everybody smells the same, and you do have to work together.
Oh, okay. I guess that's the missing link that I didn't quite get. So, in other words, you saw the privileged kids having these opportunities that made them better people, and you saw that the poorer kids didn't have this opportunity. So you figured out a way to close that gap.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we now have offices in 7 different cities, and we're sending over 3,000 kids out this summer.
Wow. Okay. So we need to know more about Summer Search. I'm sure we have plenty of children here, or are you overbooked?
Well, the kids are nominated through a process of referrals from their teachers and schools. So we don't have a program in Florida yet, but maybe soon we will.
Okay.
We're continuing to expand.
So when you wrote your book, that had to have been a little emotional for you too, because you still had to draw on the experiences you had with your daughter, with gearing her up to be away from you, but knowing that would be in her best interest.
Yes, and research is very definitive that kids who separate from their parents become more resilient.
So can you, I'm sure you've done this or thought about it at length, but if you could, any of us, think about what it must have been like for a 15-year-old in the 1800s. They probably didn't need something like this because there were so many chores to do, and because
right.
it was almost necessary to be together. So you had the social time. You didn't have the distractions of the iPads and things like that, right? So it is our new world, right? That causes the need for this.
Yes, absolutely.
So when you first started this out, what were the challenges that you faced for yourself?
Probably the biggest for any nonprofit is fundraising.
Just money.
And money. Well, not just money. Money is never just money. Money's a big one. But our students do so, after the first 5 years, our students do so well. 75 to 80% of our students graduate from college. 100% graduate from high school. And among their peer group, I think it's about 11% graduate from college.
Wow.
So we're identifying kids that have a chance to go on and become leaders and really contributing members to our society in major ways.
I'm so curious to hear some of the stories that you can tell us of some of the changes that you witnessed for yourself and some of the kids that went on the summer programs, the summer search program. So let's take a little break and we'll be right back. Our guest is an angel on earth, Linda Mornell. She's a registered nurse. She's the founder of Summer Search, which is a nonprofit organization providing disadvantaged young people with life-changing summer opportunities. We'll take a break and find out more when we come back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. It'll be partly sunny today with a thunderstorm in parts of the area, mainly during the afternoon hours over the interior. The high 86 on the coast, 92 inland. Tonight will turn out mainly clear with a low of 69 to 73. Intervals of clouds and sun tomorrow with a shower or thunderstorm in the afternoon, high 87 to 91. For Wednesday, sun mixing with clouds with a couple of afternoon thunderstorms, the high 87 to 91. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
If you're anything like I was, the thought of getting older was the last thing on your mind. But here we are. For me, it started slowly. The lack of energy, never being in the mood. And when I was, I could never perform at my best. I tried the pills and other treatments with minimal results, and all but given up on my sex life. Then I found the doctors at New Male Medical Center. Wow, they made a new male out of me. Feel like I'm 25 again. I have renewed vigor, so much more energy, and no longer worry about my performance. New Male treated me like my situation was one of a kind, with a custom treatment plan that really works. I feel great. They can create one for you too. It does not matter if you suffer from low testosterone, erectile dysfunction, or just want to last longer. New Male will help you.
Call New Male Medical Center today at 352-404-4779. 352-404-4779. That's 352-404-4779. It will change your life. 352-404-4779.
Loco Graphics would like to invite you to their second location on 200 next to Sonny's Barbecue. They are officially open to help you out with all your sign, vehicle wraps, and printing needs. Visit them and mention this ad for free business cards. Need a logo? We've got you covered. From business cards all the way to menus and flyers. Now 2 locations to better serve you. On Merricamp, half a mile east from Forest High School, and on 200 by Sonny's Barbecue. Loco Graphics, impacting your customers. Like us on Facebook.
Don't get caught without your daily source of senior deals. Pick up your copy of the Senior Voice newspaper. It's your source for schedule and events tailored to seniors, with information you need, like a list of free events in the area. We even have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company to you that fits your needs, and all we ask in return is that you tell them where you heard about them. For more information, call Tom's Picks, 352-804-1223. And pick up your copy of the Senior's Voice at most any business up and down the 200 corridor.
Now read Ocala Downtown newspaper online.
All right, thank you. 18 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. You know, the one thing I think we can all relate to is the times in our lives when work had to be done. Let me just put it this way. Whether it was, I can remember a couple of times I had to tear down a shed with my dad, or I helped tear down a shed of a friend, or a garage, actually. Here, we had to tear down the walls to build the studio here.
Right.
We had to tear down the old walls of the restaurant that this used to be.
Sledgehammer.
And I'm not saying that those are work programs, but there is something about manually, physically working together with other people.
Yeah.
And you know, camping and all that. So it does do something to the human spirit, doesn't it, Linda?
Yes. I call it, in the book, I call it going for hard.
Mm-hmm. And so, and I remember that in the book. So tell me, what do you schedule things that become hard, and how do you assure yourself that they're not going to abandon it? How do they go, well, this is too hard? How do you figure that out?
Well, the stresses of poverty are too hard for so many kids that never get a break. I think there's such a spirit on the wilderness expeditions, and the leaders tend to be really highly trained and good, and there's a lot of support for kids at the same time.
You have your book is filled with stories, and one of the stories you have in your book is a young man named David. He was going to go to one of these camps, and then the night before he was supposed to leave, he was arrested for shoplifting.
Yes, that's one of our students went to juvenile hall. This was a Vietnamese boy who grew up in the Tenderloin of San Francisco without parents, really. His mother left early, and his father would leave in the morning, and he had no resources. So he learned to become an entrepreneur to survive, actually, popping meters and stealing food. But he had a teacher that believed in him and referred him to the program, and he stuck with it. I found there's a school in Colorado called Eagle Rock School for juveniles that have struggled but are savable. And David ended up going there and finished his high school, graduated from high school from Eagle Rock. And he's now works in the environmental field. He's got all kinds of environmental. He learned to love the environment living in Colorado, and goes into schools and that have problems with asbestos and all kinds of environmental problems. And he's started his own family. So he's done two things that were sort of unheard of in his own family in the way he grew up.
You hear similar stories when people join the Army or join the service. You'll hear similar stories. They come back and they are changed for the better.
Yes, or severely traumatized.
Oh yeah, if they actually go into combat, yes, absolutely.
Right. Yep.
But I think the experience of that camaraderie experience, the need to depend on each other and for other people to depend on you, I think that's what you've incorporated into this. Is what it sounds like.
Yes.
So tell us a story. Tell us the book is called Forever Changed. Tell us a story of somebody who was forever changed.
Okay, I'd love to. Let me tell you about Carlton. Carlton was 18 years old and a sophomore when his referring teacher called me about him, and she said, he's barely literate. Normally, I would not think of him as a summer search student, but I've been in education in low achieving schools for 28 years, and I've never seen a youngster with his amount of deficit who is still trying. So I think you should take a look. So we did interview Carlton, and I was a little bit worried about it because he did have so much deficit. But we've discovered that he did an Outward Bound trip, and then he went to a program in New Hampshire for learning disabled students. He was severely learning disabled but had never been diagnosed. Anyway, we discovered that he was a visual learner. So he did something no one in his family had ever done. He graduated from high school. And today, he works as a videographer, and he videotapes health conferences all over the world.
Wow. Now, that is a forever changed person.
Yeah.
That is
Great story.
It isn't. Well, there's an example of how technology really does change somebody's life. If you can learn visually like that, and you don't have somebody visually showing you, then sometimes these videos do help. So
yeah.
I've learned a few things with videos myself. Yeah.
But that is one of the things that you recognize is that all people learn differently. There is no cookie cutter mode.
Yes, exactly.
So how do you screen the people who are the mentors?
Well, they're not volunteer mentors; they're paid mentors on staff.
Okay. And
we train them in these insight mentoring. We train them. It actually takes all of us a little while to learn how to listen. So it takes a year or two to train our mentors, but we have been very lucky in that they stick around and go on to become leaders as we open new offices. So it's a very satisfying thing.
And they have to learn. Well, they have to learn how, like you said, to listen, but they also have to learn how to get the students that need help to trust them, and trust is really a high priority.
Yes, and we establish that from the very get-go. The teacher recommends the student, if they want an interview, all they need to do is write a one-page essay about themselves. About half the kids don't do that. So there's a sort of a self-selection part to all of this. The students that write an essay and get an interview, we sit down with them and say, we want to know what it's like to be you, to walk in those shoes that you're wearing.
Do you know?
And they make a decision in that moment whether to talk about themselves in an honest way or check out.
So do you give them chances to open up aside from like in an office setting? Like do you get them out in the pickup truck and actually start working on cutting down trees and getting sweaty? Because I can remember. I mean, in my adult life, working with young people. Not that I worked with them, but I was related to them. But you know how you'll be like in let's say a family gathering, and one of the teenage kids is, hey, Uncle Larry, whatever. You sort of know them, but then you have an opportunity to really like build something or dig a ditch or whatever, or fix a flat, even just something like that, and all of a sudden you realize, wow, you're connecting in a way you never connected before, and I'm wondering if that is one of the methods that are used.
Yeah, we take the kids on hiking trips. We do community service projects. We're very interested in altruism. And that's one of the things we look for in that initial interview. The kid that wants to help others. Very often, it's the kid in the family that is trying to take care of the others. So that's a prominent characteristic in Summer Search kids.
You have some really inspiring photographs in your book, also of real life events, and the smiles on the students' faces are outstanding.
Thank you.
Summersearch.org is the website, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Let me get a few phone calls in, if you don't mind. Got somebody waiting on hold here. Good morning. Thank you for calling. You're on the air with Linda Mornell.
Yes, good morning. Good morning. And we have similar programs here in Florida, the Florida Sheriff's Youth Ranch and the smaller organization, the Road Heaver Boys Ranch, that help at-risk youth. Just thought I would throw that in, and I'll hang up and let others call.
That is really true. I appreciate the call. Yes, there are programs like that. Absolutely. Yeah.
I wonder if they are of such intensity, though, like yours.
Is he still on the air? I just wondered how long they last.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how long. He's not on the phone, no, but I don't know how long they last either. But I guess, and anything's, and yours is 3 weeks, right?
3 to 6 weeks.
So do the parents have to be in on this? I mean, they have them rappelling down mountains. That's the part that would scare me.
Well, this is very scary to parents, and again, we're dealing with a population of kids that have never done these things either. So it's a real risk. In the beginning, parents were very questioning and worried about this, but as our reputation and as knowledge about the program has grown, they're very eager for their students to participate.
There's one photo in the book where you're with President Bill Clinton. Is the president or the White House or the federal government in any way aware of what you're doing? I mean, this needs to be endorsed so that more people are aware of it.
Well, that's one of the reasons I wrote the book. We are not as well known as we should be, given the scope of what we do. That was a fundraiser for Hillary Clinton many years ago, and that photo, one of our students actually sang. She has a beautiful voice. Chelsea Clinton went to one of the programs that I liked the most. It's called Deer Hill in Colorado. Again, it's Wilderness and Service, a family-run program. And I think, as I understand it, it was very transformative for her, too, at age 16.
That's not right. But again, somebody who has money to be able to afford a camp that's set up like that would be advantaged over the kid who has no such...
Right.
There's no way they can do it. And so that's you're the one stepping up to make sure that happens for them.
On that very same trip was Thomas Talamantes, a Mexican-American young man from Oakland.
Oh, wow.
So, yes.
Okay. Linda, thank you so much for what you're doing. You are definitely making the world a better place. And thank you for taking time out of your day to be with us. The book helps understand what this is about. Forever Changed is the name of the book. The title, Call Me. I do have a copy that was sent to us, but the rest of us will have to go buy it. Do we buy it on summersearch.org? Is that where we buy the book?
The best place is Amazon, or I have my domain name as well, LindaMornell.com.
Okay, Linda. Thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for being on the air with us. And if you're ever in Muncie, just say hi.
Thank you both for your enthusiasm. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Linda. All right, we'll take a little break and be right back.